Great, thanks very much, Emily. I'm working from a new PC, so I'm going to let Karen orchestrate the slides here. But I just want to start by saying that I think Stacy's presentation was really amazing and highly sophisticated and a pretty tough act to follow. But um, let me introduce Boskalis. Boskalis is a company headquartered in the Netherlands. We've got about 12,000 employees. We work globally in the areas of dredging and offshore energy. And I work in the offshore energy side of the company. And for offshore energy, that's really divided between oil and gas activities and renewables. And Boskalis is pretty big in renewables. And we'll talk a little bit about both of those as we go on through the presentation. But also, I really want to focus on a lot of fun photos in my presentation because we do some kind of amazing things that a lot of people have never seen before. So if we could go to the first slide. This is a ship on a ship. A lot of people have never seen something like this. What you see there is the Carnival Vista cruise ship on top of our vessel, the Boca Vanguard. And the Boca Vanguard is the world's largest semi-submersible heavy transport vessel. By semi-submersible, it means that the deck that you see there can submerge below the water with 50 feet of water above our deck. And then we're able to float cargoes over our deck and then deballast the ship and lift those cargoes up out of the water. This was an unusual one. Carnival had a problem with the propulsion system or the propellers on this cruise ship, which operates out of Galveston. This happened October of last year. And we were able to meet the ship in the Bahamas and load it up, take it to a shipyard in the Bahamas where they could do the repairs on the propellers, then take it back outside and lower our ship down and put the cruise ship back in the water. The cruise ship weighed 96,000 tons. So this is the second largest, heaviest cargo ever transported. And I'll show you the heaviest one here in a minute. But an interesting service that we've started doing now for the cruise lines. Of course, they had to drain all the swimming pools, so the water didn't slosh around. But let's go on to the next one. So this is the same vessel, the Boca Vanguard, engaged in offshore oil and gas. The picture in the upper right is the Asta Hansteen spar buoy, which is a oil and gas production platform that was built in South Korea. And we are loading it here to take it around Africa to Norway. And the picture on the left side is called an FPSO, which is a floating production, storage, and offloading unit that is the world's heaviest cargo. This cargo was just shy of 100,000 tons. And this unit was built in China, and we transported it to Brazil. So good pictures because you can see the deck of the ship underwater. And I don't know if you can see the bridge of our ship is the little windows at the top of one of those sections, and you take an elevator to the 18th floor to get to the bridge. Okay, next slide. So in the previous slide, we showed you the big spar coming from Korea to Norway. Well, on the left-hand side, that spar is now upended and in the water, and the topsides production platform that was going to go on top of that spar was also built in Korea, and we brought it from Korea on another vessel of ours called the White Marlin in the lower right. And then we took that production platform and we transferred it from that one ship onto two ships, two Swan-class ships, much like a catamaran. And then we were able to drive those two ships over the top of the spar, ballast those vessels down, and set that 27,000 ton production platform down on top of that spar, and then take those ships out from under. So quite an accomplishment using 4 different vessels in our fleet. Okay. Oh, if you could skip that one. There we go. So this is the world's largest fish farm. And this is a project we did about 3 months ago. This fish farm was built in China, loaded aboard the Boca Vanguard, and we took it around Africa to Norway. And this thing is 1,263 feet long, so it's 150 feet longer than the USS Enterprise aircraft carrier. It is 196 feet wide and 18 stories high. And it will be moored in a fjord, that's a tongue twister, in Norway. And water is able to move in and out of this structure, and it will be home for 10,000 tons of salmon. What they do is they put little baby salmon in one end, and at the other end come the full-grown salmon to go to market. Part of what's happening in aquaculture around the world, and we're working on a contract to move a second one of these next year. Okay, next slide. So now let's transition to offshore renewables, wind farm development. Boskalis has been instrumental in installing wind farms in the North Sea for about 20 years. We're also doing it in Taiwan. And we're just getting started with wind farms off the east coast of the United States. And this slide shows the new GE Halide X wind turbine, which is a 12 megawatt turbine that will sit on top of a tower offshore that is 853 feet high. And the blades are 720 feet in diameter. So that's 2 football fields. Just to give you an idea of the size of these things. This one turbine will power 16,000 homes. Next slide. So this chart just is here to show you that the offshore wind farm market in the United States is getting ready to really take off. So this is the amount of subsea cables that will be installed to connect each one of these turbines together offshore in a wind farm and bring that power ashore. So between 2020 now and 2030, in the next 10 years, there will be over 6,000 miles of subsea cables installed on the east coast of the United States by companies like ours to connect all these wind turbines together and connect them to substations and subsequently bring that power ashore. So next slide. So we have over 600 vessels in our fleet, 6 of which are cable layers. So these are special built vessels that are designed to pay out and lay subsea cables in various water depths. And we will hopefully be bringing some of these to the east coast of the United States to install some of the cable we just talked about. And next slide. This is a tool that we built that is an autonomous underwater vessel that both lays subsea cable, it trenches a trench in the sea bottom, lays the cable in the trench, and then simultaneously buries the cable in the sea bottom, and it will work with one of the cable installation vessels to lay that cable on the seabed and bring it to the beach. Next cable. This is one of our installation vessels, the Boskalis 1, which, as you can see, is just a really big ship with a big deck area and has a 3,000-ton crane on it. And we now have the Boskalis 2 under construction in Korea, which will have a 4,000-ton crane on it. And these vessels are designed specifically to install foundations for wind turbines. And typically those are what you call monopiles. And in the next slide, you see a picture of a monopile. So this monopile, they range anywhere from 350 feet long and 30 feet in diameter, 1,300 tons up to almost 2,000 tons. So these are huge pipes. And that vessel that I showed previously is designed to lift this monopile up, set it down on the seabed, and hammer it into the seabed so it can be the foundation for a wind turbine. And in the next slide, we tackle kind of an environmental issue with hammering a monopile of that size into the seabed, and that is protection of marine mammals. Whales, dolphins, marine mammals have very sensitive hearing. So we take great care to do this kind of an operation in a way that doesn't upset those mammals. And what we've done is come up with what's called a double big bubble curtain, which is a curtain of bubbles, two curtains of bubbles that are surrounding the monopile so that when the hammering of the monopile takes place, it mitigates the sound that's able to escape through those curtains of bubbles and greatly reduces the impact on marine mammals. Next slide. So this gets into some of the other kind of odd things that we do. This is a Russian nuclear submarine. We've transported 9 of these submarines in various places around Russia for dismantling. The Russians actually have about 49 of these submarines with active reactors in them that still need to be dismantled, and we are helping them in that effort. Next slide. Some of the military work that we do. This is the USS FITZGERALD, which is a US destroyer that was involved in an accident off the coast of Japan, and we were able to load that destroyer on board one of our vessels and bring it back to the United States to Pascagoula, Mississippi. And this is the vessel getting ready to enter the Panama Canal. And next slide. And one more military shot. This is the sea-based X-band radar platform, which is the world's largest radar platform that was built on a semi-submersible drilling rig platform at Matt Sellers' yard at Kiewit in Corpus Christi, Texas. And we were able to load this platform up and take it around South America, around Cape Horn, to Pearl Harbor. And this thing actually has its own propulsion, and it ranges around the North Pacific as part of the missile defense network and keeps an eye on missile launches coming from North Korea, or I guess any place else where they want to look at it. So that's kind of a snapshot of Boskalis and what we do in military work, offshore energy, and I would open it up to questions at that time.